Good morning. My name is Tom. I come to you from Northern Maine. I've got one reason for you to belong to this channel. This is the second one of these fish that I've caught in the last 2 days. This is an 8-pound lake trout, 27 inches long. So subscribe to the channel if you like this kind of stuff. This is all that this channel is about. Fishing, hunting, anything to do with the great outdoors is what I cover in this channel. So I'm looking forward to meeting you. Subscribe to the channel, leave me a comment, and you have a great day. Good morning. My name is Tom. I come to you from the great state of Maine. Welcome. Get yourself a coffee. If you're watching this video this morning, it is Sunday morning. Sunday morning, and I'm at camp. So, hello. It is Sunday morning, and I'm at camp. I'll just put a new gun up there. I kind of like having them in front of me. Anyways, you guys are watching this. I'm sitting at camp. Probably I'm sitting in the boat. Well, you'll be watching it at 6 o'clock in the morning. So I get in the boat around 7-ish. So if you're watching this at 7 o'clock in the morning, I'm riding around in the lake looking for a salmon. And I'm going to be doing that for a few days. So what am I doing here? Well, what I'm doing here is trying to make up a video or two for while I'm gone, so you guys don't get bored. Let's see. I think I'll do this video today for Jason. Jason is one of my Canadian subscribers, so good morning, Jason. Why do we do a video for Jason this morning? Well, Jason needs a pick-me-up. Jason, I just found out in my comment this week that Jason has fallen and broke his leg in the ankle area. So I guess he broke his leg, ankle, or whatever's in there. He kind of put leg/ankle in the comment. So, and he said he's going to be laid up for quite a few weeks. And then he's probably got to heal after that still. So he said, I can't go into my own cabin, so I'm going to be living through your videos, Tom. So, Jason, good morning. And so we'll keep this about maybe camp life. And when I get up to the cabin, I'll make sure to have a cup of coffee with you. So, but last week, let's see, last Wednesday, I laid down a video on memories. You can go back there and grab that, but memories here in the state of Maine. So being a rainy day and all that, I kind of needed to make some videos. Plus, I'm still fighting this cold. I've got to start packing tomorrow, so I'm hoping by tomorrow I start to feel a little bit better. But right now, I figured I'd come up here, have a coffee with you guys, and get going. But I started down a few videos, and we'll see how they go on memory lane, all that. I kind of wanted to talk about one of my hunting trips when I was probably, I don't know, 10 or 12 in that area. I might have been a little older, but I can't remember ages as much as I can remember trips. But this was it was a bird hunting trip that turned into a bear hunting trip. That quick. So, but what, and that just, as a kid, that just lit a fire under my behind to not only be a deer hunter, but to also be a bear hunter and a bird hunter. And there's just, there was so many times in my youth growing up that I just knew right then that this was going to be something that I was going to chase for my lifetime. And here we are. It's been a lifetime. And I have fished and hunted harder than anyone I know. I spent more hours in the boat than anyone I know. I know there's other people out there that do the same thing, but I'm just telling you about my experience. But as a kid, when we did that first bear hunt, bird hunt, we used to, well, the last video was talking about the Wadley Pond area, how we used to have to go into Canada, drive up the Canadian border, and then come into Maine that way. So this is all along the same lines as those trips. And if you want to catch more on that one, that was just last Wednesday's video. I don't have a title for it yet, but if you look in my homepage there on YouTube, you'll definitely find the last video if you want to start out there. And I'm going to start a playlist on this anyways. This sounds like too much fun to not do it, so unless you guys tell me in the comment that you don't want to do memory lane, then we won't do it. So how's that sound? But anyways, we were up there on a bird trip, and it was a great bird hunting trip. We have been shooting partridge every single day that we was there, and we did that trip every single year. We always went up in trout fishing season, which was in June, and we'll get into some of the fish stories on that one. And we always went up in October for bird hunting, and then we always went up in November for deer season. Now, I didn't always get to go on the November hunt because I was young, but I always got to go on the bird hunting trip, which was a family deal. You know, it was my grandparents, and they sometimes would have a couple with them. So they always had 4 people. They used to hunt out of a van back in the old days when we had passenger vans. And they hunted out of a van, and we had campers and tents and all that. We stayed on Wadley Pond most of the time. Hunting season, we might stay at different areas depending on where we was planned on hunting. But anyways, we were getting back to that bear. We was been bird hunting for 3 days or more and just slaying the partridge. And then we come around the corner on the ride back to the cabin. Back to the camper, and there's a Maine black bear standing up on the bank on the side of the road, and I'm in the back of the pickup truck looking over the top of the roof because my father and another hunter was in the front seat. So when we stopped and see the bear, I stood up, and my eyes as big as saucers. And my father got out of the truck. I don't know, back then he was probably hunting with the 308 that I eventually bought off him. Wish I'd kept that gun. I'll have to ask him, but I'll bet you it was a 308 Remington pump. And he shot the black bear anyways, dropped him right in his tracks. So we went back to for me, I mean, like I said, at that point I was probably only about 12 years old. So seeing the bear, watching the bear get knocked down, and then we had to process the bear, get him gutted out and all of that. So that was a lifetime experience for me. And then we still got the picture. I would like to get my hands on that picture, but we drove an old Ford pickup truck back then, and back then you built wooden. We call them ladder racks now. Everybody buys a steel one. But back then you built them out of wood. So we had a wooden ladder rack back there. And on that ladder rack we had the bear hanging, and we had probably a half a dozen partridge hanging. And it was a dark time. Cameras weren't even that great then. It's more or less like a black and white picture, but it's a great picture. And we're standing there all in our, we'd been up there for a week. So we all looked pretty gruffy, and back then you did anyways, your old dirty hunting clothes. And so we were standing there with that bear and our shotguns and rifles and the partridge hanging there. It's just a great picture. It's a great picture to look at. So, but that was my opening day of learning the ins and outs of starting to bear hunt. So, and the birds, my goodness, we shot. Some years you'd shoot 50 birds in a weekend. Other years you couldn't buy a bird. So, but that happened to be one of those good weekends for bear. I mean, good weekends for bear, and a good weekend for ruffled grouse, partridge, whatever you want to call them. We call them partridge up here. They get in a fancy book and they call them ruffled grouse. So then we'd head back to the, take the bear, take the birds back to the camper, and then wait for my grandparents to show up so we could share the hunt. So that was a nice thing too. Lots and lots of hunting trips with my grandparents before they passed away. Had lots of hunting trips with them and had lots of fishing trips with them over the years. Mainly the fishing was done in June. And I'll save that. That's another great memory lane one. I will save the June fishing for another video. But so we'll talk about the June fishing, and we'll talk about some deer hunting trips up there. I cut my teeth with a bow and arrow up there. A lot different bow hunting back then than it is now. We didn't, especially for us. I mean, we didn't have any high-end equipment like they have nowadays. But we knew how to shoot. We knew how to shoot, whether it was a bow or whether it was a, I didn't take up the bow hunting until I got well into my teen years. But we did learn how to shoot the bow quite well, because my grandfather, he wouldn't let us go unless we could shoot the bow quite well. So my great-grandfather, he had a rule. We wasn't ready for deer season until we could put 4 arrows in a dollar bill. And that's how we practiced. We practiced with a target the size of a dollar bill. And that's just the way it was, I am so excited for deer season. I'm so excited for deer season that it's not even funny. And we're just beginning the summer. So anyways. Well, I have no idea how many minutes are on this video. I didn't press the reset button for the timer, so you guys have a great week. I hope you enjoyed this down memory lane deal. If you like it, say so in the comments, and I will keep going. So we will do it until you guys get bored and stop watching them. How's that sound? So have a coffee with me, and I will see you on the other end. Jason, I hope you get better soon, and I hope that this video will bring you down some memory lanes of your own while you are laid up. Have a great day.